Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, AK Tags.
I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Did I leave enough of a gap so it's not? Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, AK Tags. Was that
and I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days. No, that's fine. I think we should talk like this the whole time because people normally
Especially
play us at
people
1.5
too,
speed or maybe even double speed. So maybe we should just do this. And my MLS number is this.
Now you just sound normal. Episode 200, episode 252 of Forever Exiled. Big shout out to all of our patrons, everybody who re-upped this week, and some new people that came back. We love your faces. Thank you so much. Patreon gets you access to After Dark if you haven't checked it out. It's our podcast after the podcast, where we just talk about more stuff and things. And also, I'm going to add this at the beginning because we always just do it at the end. If you're not on our Discord, you should pop in and say hi. It's funny how many people have been like, I've been listening forever. I just found out you have a Discord. So I put it at the beginning. We have a Discord. It's very fun. And we talk in Global 2121. So there you go.
Yeah. In game 2121. But also, like, we're not you don't have to like do anything in the Discord. Like, if you just want a community where you can like chit chat, ask questions, sometimes share some hype.
It's just a chill
yeah,
community.
you can join for 6 years and never say anything, and that's totally fine.
There's lots of stuff in there. It's very fun. Community rocks. I really appreciate them, and I've had a lot of fun with them in Discord and especially in Global 2121. So there you go. I got it out at the beginning for the first time ever. It just took 252 episodes.
You know, there's another one of those things, another one of those quotes where it's like, you have to sing it or say it. It's for the first time every time somebody says for the first time in forever, there goes Frozen in my head. Can't do anything about it.
I'm going to come over there and attach an attachment to your head, your neck, and your shoulders to stop you from turning away from the mic while you talk.
Well, I moved you this way. Now you're not this way. You used to be here, right in front of my mic, but now you're this.
So it's adjusting. I get it. He's just having a party right now. I don't know what's going on.
Buster, I'm sorry, and thank you for your patience. I absolutely hate being late. I know obviously sometimes in life it happens, but I was late again this week. Fine. And so thank you for your patience.
I may be checked out sometimes through this because we are recording very early for a normal episode. Normally we would record on Friday. We're recording on Wednesday. I'm leaving for holiday tomorrow and I am so swamped. So if you just hear a random totally or I am agreeing with you, obviously.
Yeah, and I know that you love everything that I say.
I do. It's my favorite.
So a few weeks ago in After Dark, Justin totally baited me with a subject that bores him and excites and frustrates me. And so he did that to bait me, and he got me rambling.
It was so
it's
fun.
Filter talk, most specifically the GGG's default filter.
In that conversation.
You were, as a dick, you were. But it was one of those things where today's one of those days where you should have saved the bait. Because now you could have been like,
just let you rant.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, bringing up my Reddit voice for my hate for.
How was your week, Tyler? If you hear the party at Tyler's house, he's got a party going on there. How's your week?
Yeah, my boy has a boy over, and they're doing boy things. I know that sounds sexist, but there are some stereotypes that are stereotypical for a reason. So, my boy has a boy over, and they are, I don't know. It just seems, the clock that I made, the second hand stopped. Wonder if it's stuck or needs new batteries. But anyway, the boys they chose to do the loudest possible thing they could, which
run
is
everywhere.
Hockey in the hallway.
Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, so you have like a
awesome puck. I did that as a kid growing up with my brother.
All the time. Those like 12-inch hockey sticks. Yeah, if you don't have them in your house, you are a horrible parent. Either that or you don't live in a place where hockey is legit. But it should be.
Man, I remember
now I have to put that on my
loud.
task list to change the batteries on that stupid clock that I hate. I'm keeping that clock forever. The clock that I made that I hated every bloody second of it. I am
the family
keeping it
clock
forever. Yeah, the solo.
How was your week though?
Remind me in 5 minutes to replace the stupid clock's batteries.
5 minutes? What the frick? Are we going to be wrapping up, or are you just doing that when I talk about my week?
That's how much I hate it. No, I just D&D it, but then it shows up and then it gets done. Yeah. What's your question? How am I? I'm fine, Justin. That was great. Kids are in swimming lessons this week, and so it's a lot of fun. But this week, the swimming lessons, the only time I could get in were like 11:15. It's the worst
kind of a weird time
to have any appointment because you feel like you don't have enough time for like a legit task beforehand, right? Because you were leaving at around 10:30. And then we get back, and then it's lunch, and then all of a sudden, the most of your day is gone. I haven't even prepared dinner, which I normally do in the morning. Make sure I know what I'm doing. Like the task list basically doesn't get touched, even though I'm only gone for an hour and 15 minutes. So, yeah. And my wife's going to be super pleased that on an already inefficient day, I'm recording the podcast too. But she actually doesn't care. I just like to pretend she's a dick.
You all to herself on Friday. Lucky lady.
Can't wait. Actually, funny enough, the kids are going for a sleepover at my mom's, and on Friday. And yeah, because that's what happens. No, that like the first thought that comes into both of our minds. Well, my mind is yes, that one. Her mind is uninterrupted video games.
Right.
Yeah. That. So I have to plant seeds for the bow wow.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Never. That's not gonna work out.
Just be naked the whole day.
Yeah, that's right. Hey,
this is what you do, right?
Ideas?
Can I suggest something?
Hey, man, this helicopter looks rad.
Well, that's cool. That'll be fun.
Can you do this?
Mm-hmm.
No. So yeah, no, I'm good, man. Everything's fantastic. Living the dream. How about you?
It's good. This week's been super busy. With leaving on a Thursday, it makes the Monday through Wednesday very, very, very busy because I really want to do as little work as possible on Thursday and Friday. It's not going to happen, but I'm
because you're gone.
Yeah, I'm leaving
Thursday,
and I'm
Friday.
trying to be on vacation, but this was kind of a surprise vacation thanks to my wife. I did know about it, but sort of.
Wait, you didn't plan the surprise getaway for her birthday?
This isn't for her birthday. This is our kids wanted to go away for the summer to do something. And I was like, I don't have time to take off. Like, I'm just too busy. And so she's like, well, they want to do something. This particular thing came up. She did tell me about it, but I was like, I'm busy right now. Let me look at it later. She showed me the pictures later. And then I think the next day she's like, I've booked it. And I was like,
suck
okay,
it up and figure it out. That's awesome.
So it'll be fun.
Are you allowed to say where it is, or is it
we're going up to Nicola Lake?
Oh, that's
near Merritt.
Yeah, nice. Yep.
So yeah, it should be nice, except that there's an interior health warning for Nicola Lake right now for some algae bloom that is like deathly poisonous. So you can't even touch the water. You can't boil the water. You can't be in the water. So
really, for the lake?
The hell? Reject. Yeah, no, you can't even be. You can't even touch the water. Apparently, whatever this is like very, very dangerous. So we're hoping that maybe it's cleared up. No, apparently it happens every year at Nicola Lake. It's known for happening in like a couple weeks every year. So we'll see. We're taking
never heard of that.
We're taking up a bunch of paddle boards and kayaks and stuff, and we'll go to the other lakes.
F the poison.
Just put one of the kids out at a time and see how they come back.
That's right.
Yeah. No, but otherwise, the week's been good. It's been busy. I had a little bit of like hopeful news backwise yesterday, so we'll see. A friend of ours had a good conversation. We went out. All of us went out on Monday. That was fun. We went out for dinner. And
I forgot to bring. Yeah, I liked it too.
Friends. But I had a conversation with one of them about the back, and his wife looked into some stuff for me in South Korea. So right now I'm looking into some options out there. Apparently it's a very, what's the word? Medical tourism, something. Like a lot of people apparently go there for surgeries. So I don't know. I'm looking into it. She's got a surgeon looking into it for me. I talked with a guy today about it who's also looking into it. So, and if it does work, if it's an option and it looks like it's good, it would be a much, much, much more affordable route.
Good. So, that's. I mean, unfortunately, that's the most important part. Outside of quality,
yeah, making sure that they're still good is a big part, but then price is a massive part of it. So.
Yeah, and I've been to the airport in South Korea, the one airport,
and you can tell it's good, right?
It seems like a fantastic place to have surgery on your back.
This place is just outside of Seoul, so we'll see. I'm excited.
That's
at least
probably
it's
the one airport I was at. Probably.
Yeah, I went from chiropractic today, so I feel good, and played a lot of PoE for the league launch. Well, I mean, a lot in our,
in our context,
in our terms, I played a lot. So yeah, it's been a good week. I'm excited to go away, and totally.
There's Justin. He's working
during my own conversation.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was good. What we don't have any special dates or anything, right?
No. We're good. And you said thanks to patrons.
Oh,
we love
obviously.
you, patrons. Yeah. There were a couple things that happened this week in PoE. Kind of neat. Settlers of Kalguur was, of course, I mean, we had the original launch episode, but now we're recording Wednesday. Normally we record Friday. So the league has only been out for us.
5 days?
Let's see. Yeah, 5 days. Excluding today, it's been out for 5 days. And apparently, GGG had the largest release that they've had. They had more concurrent players than they've ever had for a launch. And that's a familiar post, which is wonderful. The fact that they almost every league keep getting better and better and better. The thing about this league, and I don't think it has anything to do with the joke about a boat league, but this league seemed so unique that even if you'd already given up on Path of Exile, it was worth trying out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
It was one of those ideas where you were curious. Like, sure, the Q&A in the video, it told you what you needed to know, but you still don't know the chemistry between the league and then this completely separate town that you're building up. Like, they explain it, but you don't know how poorly or well together it kind of coincides and works together until you've actually played it. Just like every league, right? You get super stoked for some ideas, and then you realize, what was the last one? Like the last league, the 2 league ideas were very fragmented. You have corpse crafting, and then you have the aspect of choosing the modifiers on some of the enemy base types and seeing your enemy base types. Those are 2 very cool ideas, but they connected, but they were almost completely separate ideas that just barely coexisted. You know what I mean? So you have this really cool idea in a completely new settlement of settlers, and then sure, you have the base information of how it's tied together, but it is so cohesive, and the chemistry between your campaign and mapping experience versus the town that you are micromanaging. It's barely micromanagement, but the town that you're managing, it's so cohesive that I would be very surprised if the numbers dropped off soon. I think that this league, the marketing was good for this league. Like, it's a very different league, like we were talking about it needed to be before the league was launched and before the reveal happened. But the fact that it's just has that perfect chemistry between gameplay and the league content, I think the retention will be quite good this league. So anyway, congratulations to GGG for the new record in concurrent players.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I mean, this league is incredible. It's very, very fun. It's been probably, like I said, one of my favorite leagues I've played in a long time. It's just such a change, but not just such a change. It's actually like it seems so far very, very well thought out and implemented. Like, I haven't hit too many. I have some things. I want to bring up one thing that I don't like because I want to get it out of the way.
Sure.
But I haven't seen things within the actual league itself that I don't like, or that I've actually been noticing spots where I go, wow, they really thought this one through. This was actually a good idea, or just well implemented.
Right. And for people that are kind of newer to Path of Exile and maybe the last year, a lot of Path of Exile vets, and it's not intentional, but I also don't blame them. There's some kind of negative connotation to league launches or the effort GGG puts in or how rushed things are. Experienced players that have played maybe for a couple years or a lot longer, they're kind of used to, okay, the league is being launched, then all these complaints happen, and then all the very basic quality of life functionality for the league comes into play. That's the way it kind of used to be. And even though it hasn't been like that for a long time, a lot of experienced players are kind of used to that. So when Justin and I are talking about a league coming out and it's already really well thought out, we don't mean it in a negative way, but it's something that, even though that's been happening for a while now, it's still
just very obvious.
We're so used to the old way because it happened for so long that it's really nice for them to dedicate the time. Of course, in general standard quality terms, like that's those are your bare basics, right? Making sure it's good and well thought out and all that kind of stuff. But it is impressive.
The scope though too, because it's such a
massive
scope is big league.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they just added, I don't know, just thinking of past leagues or whatever, it's not like they just added something small. They've added a major piece to the puzzle or a major piece to play. So I just been really impressed. I have to say, the one thing that is driving me crazy, I've talked to a number of people who have messaged me privately. Really, they're struggling with lag to the point where they can't play it. I have been lucky in the sense that I have not had lag. I have not had frame drops. I've not had lag, which is the big problem. I have had the most frustrating issues of rubber banding, and I have not had rubber banding.
I have had lots of rubber banding as well
forever, and it has gotten me killed multiple times where I've gotten sucked back into the bears that blow up or something that whatever. It's driving me crazy. I'm really struggling because I love the league. I love King's March. I love everything about it. But holy shit, the rubber banding is brutal. It's so bad. And also, this is just a normal complaint with Path of Exile. The visual clarity gets so much more frustrating, even more so when you're playing melee or when you're playing something that needs to be close. I can't see a damn thing. I can't tell you how many times I've died to something where I'm like, I don't even know what that was. I actually don't know what just killed me.
Especially when the league content within maps are these towers, statues, creepy crawlies, they're environment things, but they're tall and wide and put together. So maybe not like the yellow one, the amber one, doesn't really obscure the screen, but there's some where there's so much of it just to make it look different than a different type of ore that it is in the way, and there's so much that's in the way.
And for me, it's even just normal regular rare mobs. I just can't see anything in the game. The one thing that is a bit annoying, I think they should do something about it, is the bismuth, whatever that one, or that puts the tornadoes out and does the elemental stuff. They did fix the tornadoes, thank God, because the tornadoes were way overtuned. But it decreases the it makes the whole level dark when you click it. It makes the whole area darker. And if you have any type of item, which I'm using the vector boots, they have a 25% minus light radius. If I'm on an inside map, I honestly cannot see almost anything. You're kind of guessing with where to go. So I don't know why that does what it does, but that's it for me for gripes. The rubber banding though, I really, really hope they figure it out, because I pulled up F1. I don't have any lag. I don't have nothing on my computer is hanging up. It's all staying fine, but there's something happening in the game that's just causing my character to randomly go back, and it's driving me crazy. It
was a lot worse for me at the beginning, but it still does happen occasionally to me, and it's frustrating because even if when you see that some of your buttons aren't working properly or you're not going in the direction that you thought you clicked on, you're going to rubber band. But the frustrating thing is, what are you going to do? You have no idea what you're going back to, and so it does kind of ruin the experience when you die from it. But
dying to it is really frustrating, crazy frustrating, because you didn't do anything wrong. You just got zapped back into something you tried to get out of.
For sure. And they've had, we were talking about, they've had a lot of patches so far, a lot of quick fixes. They had a massive patch. 25.0b. It was so big, I thought it would be 0.1 already, but nope.
Really good changes.
Some good QOL changes. And there were very few, like you said, this league, they've done a good job with thinking about the majority of things ahead of time, just through the player experience that they've already had. There were a few things that were overlooked, which made the original experience not frustrating as in an angry frustrating, but just I got to screen hop again. I got to walk over here to see what I have, right? Something like having the amount of totals you have for the different resources within a certain screen. It was omitted before, so you kind of had to remember before you went to your shipping lane.
Or now start the slider, and then you'd kind of get an idea. Now it's a really, really good change. Very obvious thing that should have been there, but at least it's there now. Yeah.
Right. And then they've, of course, come up with their buffs and nerfs for the different league-specific content. But again, as a more experienced player, when you have a history of massive league changes, it's nice that there were so few balanced changes for the league-specific content this time around. And I think it's been quite a few leagues in a row now where of course, they've needed some balance changes, but they've been tweaks. I think the last one that needed a major balance overhaul was the Toda League. Mm-hmm. What was Toda? Trials of the Ancestors? Something like that?
Yeah, we called it something different.
That one needed that one needed some massive revamping post-launch. So this one, I think it's done a phenomenal job. I personally, for me, am having a phenomenal time.
It's so fun. Like, I want that to be my hideout. I want to have my hideout be like that. I just love the building it up. I love the collecting the stuff. I just opened up the ability to send your people mapping and doing all of the disenchanting and the shipping. Like, it is very fun to do, but I just like that they paired it so well with mapping. Like, it really is just go play the game and come back and check on your city every now and then, or start something new, or a shipment came in. And I have seen gripes about people saying that it's worthless, they don't get good stuff. And for me, I'm like, frick, there were 4 chaos on it. Like, it's just,
it's free. It's free stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I don't totally understand that. I'm not sure what people expect. Like, maybe it was the poor choice of them showing 4 tabs of, rewards, which I know they did change pre-launch. That wasn't going to be a thing. But for me, I feel like it's a fair representation of what you should get. One more thing I want to bring up that I don't like, and it has nothing to do with the league, it has to do with Path of Exile in general, is their freaking modifiers and their combo of modifiers. It's still a thing. I'm going to bring it up until they come up with some solution to it, but there is no way some modifiers should pair with other modifiers.
100%. There's too few rules for the amount of random that's available. Anyway,
that's what grinds my gears. What else? I guess they came out with a bunch of other patches. We're not really going to go over all the hot fixes. It's good. They're on top of it.
People have found out ways to definitely take advantage of the system. We had a few people on our Discord, which means there's obviously many more than just the ones that voiced up. And then, of course, many more within the community that quit the league because there was some sort of thing that some players were doing where they were getting boatloads of divines. And
I heard something about it. All I saw was that it was fixed and they did something.
Yeah. So in the past, GGG has cared based on how it happens. You get a league like 2 leagues ago. What was that called? Where there was so much currency that the game was crashing and GGG didn't even care. What was before the Corpse League?
Wasn't that the crazy one with all the stuff? Affliction?
That's right, yeah. Affliction. You'd get so much currency that the game would crash, and GGG was fine with it. So it's all about the process and how it's done. And with this one, GGG did find it to be some sort of economic abuse. Now, instead of waiting to find out an appropriate punishment for these people, I think there might be some gray area with their terms of service, as well as making it difficult to apply any type of punishment or discipline. But GGG saw that it was an issue, saw that it was done in a way that they didn't like, and so they made a post. Even though they didn't have a resolution to what was going to be done to the individuals that took place in getting billions and billions of divines, they basically said that they called it, the post is called Recent Economic Abuse.
I just saw it. It's the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, and they basically told the community, we're aware of it, and we know which accounts have been rewarded in-game for it, not by them, but of course, just which accounts have it. And don't worry, none of those accounts are going to be allowed to trade. All that currency is basically blocked from the environment.
Literally 4 people all belonging to the same guild, run 250 instances, guild of 12. We've locked all the wealth generated from this to prevent it from getting into the economy. We'll decide what to do, but we will not allow the wealth to re-enter the economy.
Hang on a quick sec.
Yep.
Thanks for your patience. I do have something to say about it, but I love that I was trying to paraphrase the small post.
Yeah, short.
Just reading it was shorter than me trying to paraphrase it.
I think what they did was great. And I also, now this is just me. I know some people will disagree with me. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. That's just part of being human. I couldn't care less. So I
care less if they were added to the economy or not, like the rewards.
Yes, that part of it. I think that if GGG finds it and knows this shouldn't happen, I love what they did. I think what they did is great. I think that's perfect. But the idea for me as a player to be upset if that was happening and to stop playing, to me, is being dramatic. It doesn't. You're talking about especially in this case, it was over a short period of time. I guess it would have been different if they allowed it to continue on, and then you get into that place where people feel like they have to do whatever this cheesy thing is. I don't even know what it was, but it doesn't affect my personal playing the game. And I guess unless you totally lean into the economy thing when you play Path of Exile, I didn't even know about it until I saw some posts in Discord. I saw some people tweeting about stuff. It has no effect on me playing the game, but kudos to GGG for finding it. It looks like by the time they found it, they had a fix deployed an hour and 5 minutes later, and then they slammed the hammer down on all the people who are doing it. And the thing is too, I don't know what it was, so I don't know if it was a bug. I don't know if they were abusing something. If they found a bug, I like that they locked the wealth. I don't think much else should happen except like, hey, whatever. I don't like the idea of banning somebody unless if they were abusing something.
Like intentionally knowing they were doing something
to something, but it sounds like they were doing scrying and a scarab used to get excessive amounts of divine orbs. I don't even know what that means, but if they found that's kind of Path of Exile's fault. If a player finds some combination of something to do within your game, you didn't mean that to happen. This is the greatest way to deal with it. Just lock that stuff out, take it out, and then whatever. I don't know, slap them on the wrist. I don't know. I just don't like the idea of just being like, hey, you're banned. You can't play anymore. But also I think from a player's perspective, they probably had some idea that they were doing something they shouldn't be doing. Maybe.
I mean, it's tough because for me, the guidelines have always been generic, and it is like, how is someone, sure, the guidelines might be obvious to some people. Right. Again, I'm not talking this specific situation, right? But just in general, guidelines need to be specific because there are people, personalities, ways that people translate what a generic term means. And they think they're completely within the rules, that it's fine, that, hey, look at this really cool thing I've discovered, right? Mm-hmm. I'm the first one discovering this, or I don't know anyone else has discovered this. Look at how cool this is. And then let's say you share it and it blows up and everyone's like, oh, wow, that's so cool. I'm sure there's some people out there that do things that don't realize it. Now, in this case, it's 4 people. Interesting. Anyway,
a guild of 12, whatever that means.
Right. The thing that I think is really impressive about this, though, is that GGG went to the community and they said, hey, listen, this isn't even fully resolved yet, but we want to let you know that no matter how it gets resolved, it's not going to impact you at all. So you don't have to worry. And I like that they took action before the whole thing was complete. You know what I mean? Instead, like in the past, they've waited until they had to make a decision on what the judgment would have been, and then they posted the community. But in this case, honestly, I think it's not even the community's business, right? And off you go. Just know it's not going to impact you. So I didn't even mean to talk that long about it. I was just impressed that GGG was quick about it, efficient about it, and they cared.
Yep. Otherwise, lots of hot fixes. They were good. I didn't read through any of them because I haven't noticed anything. I actually did play with the auction house thing or whatever, the wealth exchanger, where you can just buy currency from other players. Love it.
How's that? Yeah,
was it good? So good. Yeah, good. It's easy. I think I needed regrets at one point, and then I just bought the thing to do the Uber Lab because I didn't want to go through a trial to get it.
Can you buy gold? No, those are locked to the account.
I don't think you can trade gold.
So you just bought regrets instead of just using gold?
Yeah, the gold cost was expensive, and those friggin' towns get expensive. I think at the point that I was at, it was like 6,000 gold per respec. That was a lot of money for me when the cost to run the city is so expensive, which I like. That's not a complaint at all. I think that's good. It was better for me to just spend some chaos to buy regrets, but I just love that it was put it in there and you're done. And easy. You literally just click it. I love it.
I like the innuendo of that.
The innuendo.
Put it in there and you're done. That's it. Have Friday. So I think I've noticed some changes. You know how Mark kind of teased us with some, like, just overall, we've made some changes to the game. We think you'll enjoy them. Hope you experience them, and kind of left it at that. Some of it was campaign based, maybe most of it. One thing that I think I noticed, I think this is new, is the Brine King is no longer in the middle of their fight. So the Brine King is the massive crab that Nessa's having sex with, and then there's the big swirly whirlpool that's around it, right? A lot of the times it used to, when it was time for its invulnerability phase, or the water would come close and you'd have to move around, you couldn't see anything because you got this big stupid crab in the middle of, but it was in the middle. and you were moving around. This was the first time that I've noticed anyway, where every time the Brine King went to go do its little relaxing thing, even for the majority of the fight, it was on the edge of the whirlpool. And so when it came for those like, pew, 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 I don't know. I mean,
I've had that before in past leagues where it's not been centered, but like 99% of the time it's right in the middle. You know what was funny?
That should be permanent because it was such a much more relaxing.
Sure, you have more space to see. I don't
like that kind of like, oh, move out of the way. Like I just like fighting. I don't like the stupid little puzzle dodging bits. So I think that stuff's dumb, but it did make it a lot less tedious.
What happened to me in the Brine King fight is this is pre-patch for the the tornadoes. I had that one in that zone and then had those in the Brine King fight too. Oh, it was brutal.
I don't like it when league content spawns in a boss fight, like in a designed boss arena. I get open world stuff. I get that, but in an actual arena,
it's a little weird,
dumb.
Especially in a small, tiny arena like that. Like it was really tough. It made the fight much harder than it should have been. Especially you're talking like Act 5 or whatever, right? You're not really geared up for that kind of stuff. But that was also pre them nerfing it, so it was even worse.
Another thing that I noticed this league, though it could be new, or it might not be new, but I started really noticing it this league, was the modifiers on shields that are increased chance to block. And it's a percentage for the local modifier. So it would be similar to increased armor, right? It's all based on the local modifier for the innate stat. And so you get something that has like 50% increased chance to block, and all of a sudden your 24% shield is up 12%. And your shield
that's always been a thing.
You know what? Maybe they increased its values.
Well, the values have changed on a lot of stuff, especially holy balls.
The values really made it stand out to me because I'm like, holy smokes, my shield's got 41% chance to block. Like, wow. Okay, I can do that. Right? Yeah. And to me, that's crazy because I used to go for a 40% crit reduction modifier on my shields all the time because the tree gave me 60. And so then I'd be quote unquote immune to crits, even when getting crit. And now, because of some of the changes they've made to chaos mitigation, they added an extra 20% crit damage reduction to the tree. So now you only need 20%, which is the lowest crit damage reduction you can roll on a shield is 21%. So all of a sudden, but then they increased life. You can get like 190 life on a shield now. So it's like, okay, so now I want 190 life on a shield. I want 20% crit reduction, but man, like, how do you deny 40% chance to block with the shield? All of a sudden, there's like almost no mods left.
Is that a prefix?
I forget if it's a prefix or a suffix. I can look it up quick. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not a prefix, then at least you still get the life. I feel like that would be a suffix, but I don't know. The life rolls are crazy though. It's so
you have
funny,
a feeling about you have a feeling about suffixes and prefixes, huh?
Oh yeah, I get them every now and then.
Yeah, of course you do. What base type do you want? Strength, shield. Okay, let's do strength int. I like those ones the best. Okay, so obviously life is prefix. You can get up to 150 life on shield. Increased chance to block. You can get up to 81%. That's a prefix as well. Increased chance to block. Yeah.
So you have that in life.
And then what was the other one I was talking about? Oh yeah, crit reduction. That's a suffix.
Oh, you're set. Throw a couple of resistance on there. You're done. You're
resists
dancing.
Are easy. Don't need resist there.
Well, I have noticed the life has been a lot of fun. Finding some of the rings that you can get now it's just so weird to be like 130 life on a ring.
Right.
Like,
awesome. That's the craziest part. And it's neat because people get used to what they like to find on certain classes and subclasses of their gear, right? And so for me, I'm always a fan just because I'm like real solo self-found and I don't even like the complicated crafting. I've always liked, even though the game sucked at it, and this is where they want to go with it, I've always liked the idea of that's what dropped. So that's what I get. You know what I mean? I'm not up for like completely redoing the entire thing. I like the small additions, kind of like where PoE 2 is going. So for me, I always, if I was rarely going on trade, I'd always have to have a free suffix because I always wanted to add the chaos res that you can craft on. And on a side note, I love that you can't craft pure chaos res. I just love that there's drop only rolls. I love it. And so I'd always look for a free suffix so that I could craft on that, 12% chaos resist and lightning resist or whatever it is. But on all my gear, just to make sure that I got it capped out. I'm always doing armor ES bases. So I unfortunately miss out on the fugitive boots. Right. but I always try and go for the amethyst rings if I can, and it's just fun. So anyway,
where are you at in the campaign?
Just quick, what they have done with modifier values to me is such a valuable thing for just making gear that much more important. Like the quality coupled, the quality changes coupled with the increased modifier values has really put such a valuable and much needed importance on items. It's so nice. There's just so much more important now, and it gives you a little bit more freedom to theory craft and do a little bit more exploratory this or that with your build, because your items are that much stronger and can carry you a little bit more in said area of your build. So anyway, I am in Act 10.
So you're almost done.
I have done everything in Act 10 except for go through the Kitava Gauntlet and fight Innocence one more time. So I have to go. So I've done the Ascendancy, and I've done the. Oh no, I have to do the two. I have to get the passive points. So I have to go and do that thing in the control blocks, and then I think I have to do that, and then I got to go get the thing, right? Fight like Gravicious or the guy that could used to be Innocence,
I never
but
do
isn't
that
anymore.
One.
Well, you need that
to get the thing. Yeah.
Get the other thing, so that then Innocence can be all zzzz, and then you can go get Kitava. So
cool. So you're almost done.
10-20 minutes away. Yeah, I intentionally stopped there so I could deal with my resists after I've actually played the game.
Right. Have you started to see any of the new base types drop? Because it's been really fun seeing new base types drop, and I'm like, ooh, that one sounds fun. It's cool seeing new names for base types.
Yes, it is. It's going to be really weird. So I'm not there yet. Old base types would, and this is such a filter creator's dream. Yes, GGG, in my opinion, really screws up how they present filters to people and filter creators. But that aside, I have down in my reminders a note to praise GGG on the new structure for how they've done their new base types, the different innate values that each of them have. It's like, so I'm actually going to nerd out with you. I know that I was joking around about filters before. I'm going to show this to you. Yeah. I'm in heaven.
You're going to show me something on an audio podcast?
I'm going to show you. Yeah. As long as the wiki's up to date. Otherwise I got to use PoEDB. I'm going to use PoEDB just to be sure. All right,
People abused T1 Cemetery and Scarab that forced the map boss to drop div card, and the only div card in the T1 drop pool was Brother's Gift. Apparently that's what people are doing. I just read that on our Discord.
Well, that's a screw up by GGG.
Yeah, but that's what I mean when I said, like, if somebody finds a weird way to play your game, it's good that if they go, oh, we didn't mean for that. But I don't think you can be like, you're banned. Terrible person.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's dumb. It's GGG's choice to have a big game. All right. So I'm going to go with helmets for now. Let's go with strength-based helmets. Okay. So previously, with your strength-based helmet, you would have 2 top-tier bases. I don't know why, but at item level, so the top bases would drop at item level 65 and 69. That's the Royal Bergenet and the Eternal Bergenet. All right.
Okay.
So that would drop at item level 65 and 69. That's when mapping starts. And now your top tier is already dropping. All right. That's the way it's been since the dawn of time. Sure. Okay. I mean, obviously, like the game used to only go up to Act 3, but what I'm saying, they just with how the game's progressed. Now, try and picture in your head the difference in armor here. Okay. I'm just going to give you, unfortunately now it's tough to hear audio only, because there's a range.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So it's tough to kind of picture the numbers. So this is before these new these new base types, okay? The Ezimite Bergenet, that's the 3rd highest armor type. You'd have 346 to 381 armor, okay? So 346 to 381 armor, all right? Now, the Royal Bergenet would have 377 as a minimum, so it could actually roll slightly less than on the low end, the 3rd tier. But then it would go all the way up to 434. Okay. Now the Eternal Bergenet, you couldn't get until 4 levels later, item level 69 instead of 65. But both of its totals are lower than the Royal Bergenet. Right? You would the base was 373, so 4 armor less, and then the Eternal Bergenet was 429 instead of 434. Like it just didn't make any sense. And there are so many base types as you're progressing that some of them, like you look at this one, the gladiator helmet lasts for 5 levels. It unlocks at level 35, and by level 40, it's replaced. Makes no sense, especially in the campaign. You go from level 35 to 40 in like 2 seconds, right? So it's just the whole system. Yes, it's an old system, and yes, they made the game in the garage and all that kind of stuff, but they hadn't updated it since the dawn of time. So now you add 3 new base types, right? Or I guess with helmets, they only added 2. No, they added 3. So anyway, so now try and picture these numbers. So before you have numbers that are kind of like interrupting each other halfway. The next tier up, right, the best base type could actually roll worse than the base type below it, right? But now you have the Royal Burgonet and Eternal Burgonet are replaced by item level or by area level 73, and already the lowest armor that General's helmet can roll is better than the other 2. So you can't get worse than it. And then that goes up to all the way up to 496. Now the replacement to the General helmet starts higher than the highest Conqueror's helmet at 500, right?
Just slide it down. There you go. Go on.
And then the Giant Slayer helmet, which is the best armor one in the game, the base armor that can roll is higher than the Conqueror's helmet, which was before it. So it's nice. Like that. Now that makes sense to me, but every single one of their items, whether it's all the bows, all the shields, all the gloves, and we're including all the subtypes as well, like armor, strength, ES, dex, like they're all kind of mixed up, and some of them only last for 3 levels. And then this one comes out and they're just like, all right, here's 3 new ones. They're definitely better than the last one. There's no gray area in it. It's just, this is the one you want. And I like it. It's awesome. But there's such huge improvements. Like let's say you go from the last 4 helmets that used to exist, and you would go from an armor of 325 to 425, basically. You'd basically go up 100 armor if you went from max roll to max roll from the 4th best to the best. Now, from the 4th best to the best, there's a difference of 250 armor. Like it's just, they're just big values. And so I think they've done a really good job at rethinking it. At the same time, they didn't redo all the old stuff. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter because you're just aiming for the top stuff anyway, right?
What's the name of that top helmet?
Giant Slayer helmet. And it actually looks cool. Which is nice.
I wish people could see you. We should have done video for this one because people would have seen just how excited and into it Tyler was while he was talking about it. It makes me laugh because my version of it was like, oh, Giant Slayer, that's new.
But it is, yeah, it's neat. But
I just like seeing the new names. They were so fun. I picked them up even if I didn't think they'd be good, just because it was a cool name.
Another thing though that filter creators had a very difficult time with, and so hopefully people that aren't into filters can appreciate this when you're using neversync stuff, is like, so as I was saying, the best art helmet used to be, like the strength helmet, used to drop at item level 69. Now, outside of modifiers could only unlock at certain tiers. So the Eternal Burgonet, which would unlock at level 69, you'd still want an Eternal Burgonet to drop in item level 84, right? Or 85 or 86, because 84 is when all the top tier 1 resists unlock. And then 86 for helmets is when the top tier for, was it armor or life? I think it's life and armor would unlock. So you would still be looking for that base type that unlocks way in 69, but you'd only want it to drop really high. And so then filter creators wouldn't have to base things. They would have to base things, yes, on the best base type, but then also on the modifiers. Whereas now the best base types all drop in item level 84. Like you can't get a Giant Slayer helmet.
I don't think I've seen that then yet. Because I don't know. That's a monster level 84.
Right. But tier 16 is area level 83. So you have to have, kill cool. Either a rare or unique boss in a T16 to even get a normal Giant Slayer, no matter what the mods are. But of course, T17s are a thing now too.
Yeah.
And that would be area level 84. And then of course, pinnacle bosses are certain areas, and you can get them, of course, once you get to Uber, that's area level 86. But so you used to have to do funny things to show people, yes, this is the version of the base type that you want. This is a possibility of these modifiers. Now with the new base types that all unlock at 84, I mean, sure, you still want to care about modifiers, but at item level 84, outside of 2 mods, you're getting T1 rolls on almost everything, or have the opportunity to. So I just like the combo and how it all works together. And I didn't mean to talk 20 minutes about filters because, you know, it'd be nice to actually talk about our experiences a bit, but
that is your experience though. You love your filters.
It's nice. Now, I didn't actually need to play that. That's something I noticed as I was building the filter. A question about you playing through now. You're in what tier maps?
I am working on tier 14 and 15, I think, right now.
So I'm not out of the campaign yet. Did you notice a change in mob density? I'm noticing to me, I'm only in the campaign. There are so many enemies everywhere. And I think the thing that made it stand out to me was in some areas, there's not a variety of base types that spawn because the campaign's a story. It's thematic. So there's only certain base types that spawn in certain areas because the game's telling you a story. So, but all of a sudden, there's like 100 of this base type doing this stupid casty thing or doing this attack. Like there were so many of them. It just seemed like insane and insanely repetitive. And it actually didn't look good, but that's irrelevant because it was still fun. But this league, and again, maybe it's just my funny role with the Brine King, but I've noticed it. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody asked Mark and like, hey, did you up enemy density a little bit? And I would picture him giggling and be like, a little bit. Yeah, it was a lot. You know, and like it just seems like it's so much. So I'm wondering what maps are going to be like. I know they have different ratios on how maps work. Because you can only have so many monsters.
I feel like maps have felt pretty same.
Open area. Yeah, I could see it being the same in maps because they have to care about the ratio of how many monsters spawn per, like based on the area. Otherwise, because I remember Strand used to be the map to go to because it was such a narrow map, but it would spawn the same amount of monsters as a big map like Bog. And so everybody would do it because your enemy and stuff. Right, because then all your enemies were in just a nice big long funnel, right? People used to do that with Canyon too. So anyway,
man. What was that one map way back in the day? People used to use it as a test to see how fast you could finish it. Gorge?
Oh, there was a really they haven't had that in forever. And there was the goat at the end. Yeah, it was the leaping goat at the end of that one. That one was very narrow. It was basically the ledge.
Right. Yeah.
All the way
through. It was like
through.
one that people would use to like see it was like who could get the fastest. I think it was called Gorge. Bringing that one back. I'm up to tier 14 15s and it's been fun. Like I have been very frustrated with some stuff, but sometimes that's just me too, right? Like I need to spend more time. Sometimes I don't want to spend time gearing and I should. Like I just want to map.
That's the best part of the game, man.
But sometimes when you're in the mood,
a leather belt drops, and I'm IDing it in the middle of combat, and I know that I'm not even going to use it because when I'm leveling, I need a heavy belt. I need that extra strength if I get the south of my street. I'm still IDing in mid combat. I get so excited. I love how different
I ID my stuff afterwards, but I just want to map. I just want to keep going. I want to progress. I really want the Atlas passive. I want to start building my Atlas tree. So I struggle sometimes, and then I have to actually stop and go, okay, you actually need to spend some time and sort out your gear because, you know, I just even like just I will play for way too long into maps without even filling out my sockets. Way too long, to the point where I'm in like tier 12 and 13s and I'm starting with level 1 skills because I've just not done it. This is the first time I played with automation. That is a very cool skill. It just works.
You're talking the spell one, right? Not the Warcry one?
Right. Just recast it when it's over or whatever.
It's so good. What do you have linked to it?
It works like a freaking aura. Like you just turn it on and it's on. And now with dying, it doesn't do anything. I also love that it doesn't do it when you're in your hideout because I have Blood Rage and Steel Skin attached to it. And they're just always on. That is the coolest. I really like it.
It is a lot of fun. And it has a mana multiplier as well. So there's a little bit of a penalty for it. It does only work with instant skills, which makes it understandable. The thing that you know what I think you would enjoy with it is put Withering Step and Phase Run. The amount of bonus speed you would get for you, that movement, because elusive and Withering Step increases the value of elusive as well. So you get some nice bonus speed just with the elusive from Withering Step, but then also have Phase Run.
Nightblade, I think it is the support for the lightning strike, so I have elusive all the time. But
the one thing about the area, I haven't had any fights yet with the actual league mechanic, but because that's technically not a hideout, it's like another map or an area. Those skills do go off while you're just chilling.
It's weird. My blood rage doesn't, because blood rage would make me tick down. But it's weird because in King's March I can use movement skills, which I love. Thank God they did that. But the automation, even though it's on, I think it's because there's no enemies. Blood rage doesn't trigger. Okay. Neither does Steel Skin, actually, now that I think about it. Back.
I know the kids are, it's very unlikely for the kids to get kidnapped, especially where we are, but there's nothing like going to where you think your kids are and
don't see them.
There's not even like a trace of them, and you're like,
you have cameras though. Why don't you just check your cameras?
We turn them off during the day because they're battery operated, so it's only for like when we're not around. So, in other words, they're pointless. We spent the money, set them up, and
just
now
to
there's
scare
no
people. That's
that's right. So, no, it's for no. I have a baseball bat. Just I used to play baseball, so I know how to hit a head.
Yeah, you do
real good.
So, how's your build going?
So, you know that joke about the Flintstones where it's like, I forget who you go with and who you think about. I forget who the sexy one is, but it's like
Betty.
Oh, that's Archie, I guess. Betty and Veronica.
Isn't Betty?
I'm sleeping
Flintstones
with
too.
Betty, but I'm thinking of Veronica, or I'm with Betty, but I'm thinking of Wilma, or whatever it is.
Wilma.
Anyway,
Wilma and Betty, I think, is the Flintstone ones. Anyway, go on.
I was playing zombies but I was thinking of the Reaper.
Yeah, you talked about that last week.
So I switched
back and forth. Oh, did you?
Yeah, I've just been playing Reaper. I'm having it's so fun. It's so fun. I'm having such a good time. And so I'm in Act 10, but it's so nice. Like the thing that really drives me nuts about zombies right now is just they're strike only. It's just so frustrating. Like you kind of, to me, even though there's no AoE associated to it, I have to, even though I prefer phantasms with them, now they're almost required, because even though phantasms aren't AoE, they have that pierce and it's a projectile from a distance. So it does help in the clearing quite a lot. And normally I'm not one for needing help in clearing, but like a whole bunch of strike only situations where you can't change what the strike is. Like with melee, you can change what your strike is like, right? You can't with zombies. So it's very, very tedious. So it'd be kind of frustrating. So I switched to Reaper, and seriously, man, just the AoE you get. And then the surprise, like you walk right into the middle of a pack, right into the middle of a big pack, which normally, like unless you're tanky, which I try to be, and I'm trying to make that part of my thing. Like I'm using Flesh and Stone, which has a really small AoE, using the defensive aspect. So I eventually get 19 flat % damage mitigation from all hits within that area. I walk right in the middle of it, and then I hit the Reaper, and it just comes in and goes whoosh, and everything except for a rare is dead instantly.
Teleports to you, right?
Fun.
Or does it do it where it stands?
No, it teleports where you're aiming. Okay. So if you're on mouse and keyboard, wherever you click is where it would teleport to. Cool. And I love that because
teleports there, and does it attack at the time that it teleports?
Yes. Or it's like, yep. Cool. Whether it's technically the same time or it's one after the other, I don't know. But it's really, really nice. And so I've never played the Reaper build with the Leech. I've unlocked the minion Leech for my character, but I have not yet unlocked the instant Leech mastery yet. So I'm very excited to see where that is. I'm getting there. I'm quite close, but I'm not there yet. I've ascended 3 times. The Necromancer's a little bit odd for the Reaper. I mean, obviously it makes sense for the Reaper, but there's a situation here with the mastery, or not the masteries, the what are they called? The Ascendancies, where there's not really a lot that matches it. You know what I mean? Like the Leech makes sense, but it's one minion hitting. You know what I mean? So the Leech is only more valuable while you're mapping. It's a lot less valuable in a boss fight, right? Sure, it hits often, but it's not a lot, and it's a bleed. It's primarily a bleed minion skill, so you're not getting Leech from the dot. So already that one's only half an ascendancy. You get 1% additional physical damage reduction per minion up to 10. Well, it's a Reaper. It's not designed to have a lot of minions. Sure, you can for different reasons, but even if you're using skeletons for feeding frenzy and maim, that's 8, right? You're not focusing on skeleton quantity because
I feel like the Necromancer though is more like an army style thing.
It is,
but I know.
But then you look at where else would you go with the Reaper? Because you still
the
want
Reaper. You're hooped because the Reaper eats everyone.
Well, right. So you have your temporary minions, or you could do summon phantasms. But if you do summon phantasms with the Reaper, and the build itself in general does a lot more damage that way, but then you're reducing the amount of damage from that ultimate teleport attack that I was telling you about, because that's all about bleed and bleed chance. Well, if one of my supports is summon phantasms, that's obviously making my ultimate attack a 4-link instead of a 5. So... And then, like, where do I get that extra physical damage reduction? Well, again, I have to dip into a way that I don't really want to play a Reaper build to get that extra physical damage reduction. And then, so there's just, it's not like the Ascendancy doesn't suit the skill perfectly, but I'm still having a great time. Like, there still isn't a better Ascendancy unless you were going pure defense. Like, if you were planning on playing a build where you were supporting only yourself and not your allies, or just yourself and barely your allies, then you would go, sure, I could go Jug, I could go, what's it called, Guardian. But the Reaper, to me, it needs a balance. It needs more innate damage to be on par with the Skeletons and SRS, other skills like that. I mean, obviously zombies do too, but I'm playing a Reaper build this league. So because I think it needs more, it's on the weak side of the balance sheet, I'm kind of forced to go Necro. I still would have anyway, because I changed my mind mid-league. I'm not going to actually start a whole character over. I don't have the time for that. It's Wednesday and I'm still in the campaign. But yeah, I'm having a great time with it. It's so much fun. And the thing that I really like about changing my mind about my build partway through is I'm not following. Like, I love pre-planning my guide, but I love making changes and trying it out in game. So often PoE players can get completely consumed by the paper, what it looks like on paper, what the stats are on paper, and you just forget to try things out in game and just see what it feels like. So, for example, Enduring Cry, I planned on walking around with Enduring Cry this whole time. I would have loved to use the new auto exertion thing, but auto exertion means that I don't even get the frenzy charges if I don't cast it myself. If I use it automatically, even though I'm using an extra gem and it costs me 15% mana, I don't get the endurance charges from Enduring Cry. So forced to cast it myself.
Yeah, you're talking endurance charges. You said frenzy, and I'm like, you get frenzy charges?
Sorry, yeah, I meant it from... Yeah. Oh, I have a special war cry.
Is there some special version of it?
That's right. So I'm doing that, and then, but it's so janky playing with like, ooh, you're running around, then all of a sudden, like, I can't hold down Enduring Cry anymore. So I was playing around without Enduring Cry, and I'm like, but I don't, like, with a Reaper build, I use some skills that other people would scoff at. Like, it's a 1 minion build. So to me, Purity of Elements is almost a must. I cannot have that minion chilled or frozen at any point. The second it slows down substantially, I'm just standing there, not doing any damage. Right? In a zombie build, I don't really care about Purity of Elements because, sure, some of them are frozen, but I have 10 summon phantasms still dealing damage. Like, it was fine. They were still taunting. But if my 1 minion build, that 1 minion is stuck or still or super slow, you're screwed. Like, yeah, sure, it doesn't look good on paper, but in game, it's the difference between living and dead. So Purity of Elements is something I have, even though I have Commander of Darkness. So that's like a whole bunch of free res. It is kind of too much because I don't really use uniques, but still. But then there was also, when I'm running around with Enduring Cry, it's really important to taunt for me when I'm using a Reaper build, especially with like that amber that the league uses, because enemies just run to that amber. So to taunt away from that is important. But with the Reaper, I love how aggressive it is. It's like it has Feeding Frenzy built into it. It's off screen, no problem, without me clicking anything. It's having a great time. It'll be back at the start. It's like, you forgot an enemy. I'll be right back. Right? Like, I just love how aggressive it is. I never want to use Meat Shield with the Reaper. I just love its aggression. So to me, Enduring Cry is still very important. So I still want to taunt. I hate how it feels. So I've kind of gone like playing without it. How often do I use it? When do I use it? Oh, right. Auto exertion says this. And so now it's like just boss only situation. When I'm already standing still, I'm already forcing myself to be really close because of Flesh and Stone.
I'm using Enduring Cry as well. Using it with Urgent Orders has at least made it feel a little bit better.
Good.
Because then it's way faster. It doesn't feel that same like, because I think at max it's like 79% increased Warcry speed, so it's not 100%.
Nice,
but it's at least a little bit better.
So I'm really enjoying it. And another thing, because the skills are no longer instant, you can't hold down the skill. If you hold down the skill, it'll automatically recast when the cooldown is done. But if you have to let go of that button for any reason and then you push it back down when the cooldown is still happening, it won't auto cast again. And so that's also a frustrating thing, because the whole point of holding it down is the consistency. You're not thinking about it. So I've kind of gotten into the mentality of only using Enduring Cry as an individual button press when I'm in the middle of combat, like a big rare or a big
I just use
enemy.
It for bosses,
Yeah. And so that's starting to really work out well. But it's so fun going around and being, well, I wonder if I should, let's try this. Like I think I have, honestly, none of my gems are safe and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. So, nice. And I am kind of getting to a point now where I'm quite sure how I like the feel of the build to be. So now, and that's perfect timing because I'm just starting maps. So now will be a good time for me to be like, okay, yeah, these are the base types I'm aiming for. These are the ones that's worth committing to with my 9 frenzy or 9 fusings. These are the ones that I'm worth committing to right now. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it a lot.
Cool.
So how about you? Tell me about your build a bit.
It's actually going really well. I will say I have wasted so many regrets on Valpact. I have tried Valpact probably 6 times, going like, okay, now I should try it. It's hard, man. It is such a hard skill to commit to just fully lose out. So I think I was wrong, because I know if I didn't say it in the podcast, I definitely said it when you and I were talking, but you lose everything. So like hitting a life flask, you just get whatever the secondary effect of it is. So
right. You're leech only,
which works really great as long as you are always fighting. But the second you're not fighting, you're in a bit of trouble.
Well, especially because you're using Blood Rage, right?
Yeah. Well, so I like I said, I've gone in and out of it multiple times. I wasn't using Blood Rage when I was testing out with Valpact, but it seemed too often that I couldn't. It just wasn't working. And one of the things too, it's funny playing with the Slayer. This is one of the very few times where I've really struggled with the Ascendancy points. Where do I want to put them? Because you have good options. Yeah, I'm good. Well, I have good options. I think mostly though because of the change to endurance charges. So like I feel like I really wanted to get Masterful Form, which is going to give me +1 to max frenzy, but also my max endurance charge is equal to my max frenzy, which means so I can push the max frenzy charges throughout the tree. I'm up to 7 right now, but that also means I've got 7 endurance charges. It's really hard to not take that because the 7 endurance charges is massive for damage reduction. But what that means is I'm missing out on Endless Hunger, and I love Endless Hunger. Endless Hunger is where your overkill damages leech's life. You can't be stunned where you're leeching. You're unaffected by bleeding. Like, I love that skill, but I gotta, I don't know, maybe buy those jewels that let you have like an extra thing later on. But that, I feel like Endless Hunger is one of the things that would help a little bit with Valpact, because Valpact really sucks with stuff like bleed or poison when you're running between packs, right? So like if I haven't killed something recently and I'm trying to quickly find packs and my health is slowly going down, you have nothing. I guess I could get a Writhing Jar. That would probably help quite a bit. I just don't have that. Like the Writhing Jar flask would probably make it a bit better, but I found just not going with it has worked out fine. I haven't really had too many struggles with stuff. Getting a little bit used to Lightning Strike and how it actually works. As much as it's a melee skill, it's not totally a melee skill, right? Like it's got a melee strike. Yeah. It's also got the projectiles, but for you to actually gain the biggest benefit out of those projectiles, you actually don't want to be right on top of the enemy because of the way it forks out those projectiles. So it has been fun, but I still have that itch to smash things. But I'm not going to switch.
2, 3. Told ya. Yeah, you're going to be the
private league. I don't think so.
You know what I enjoy about you being Slayer? Zooming in on the Ascendancy picture.
Oh, just the angry dude or what?
The Slayer, he's like, big 2-handed guy. He's not even wearing a helmet.
Just doesn't even care. Badass. Just chopping a head off. Right.
And he's chopping, but not just a head, Justin, also a hand.
And there's a hand. Look at that.
Right. And the thing that really stands out to me, because it's wicked. Mm-hmm. They could have done anything. Almost every other picture is somebody posing. This guy's like, excuse me, I'm busy. If you want a picture of me, you got to follow me into battle, okay? Because I'm busy doing stuff. And obviously the Slayer really enjoys what they're doing, but that's also the picture that GGG uses for their loading screen on console when you're loading the game. Really? But because it's a free-to-play game on console and there's not really an agreement factor, you know what I mean? Like it's very easy to deny your age and stuff like that on console, stuff like that. So they actually have painted in red, so the head's and the hand technically aren't decapitated off. Yeah. Oh, so it's just like this red mush connecting the body and the head and the hand. So I like that's the way it is. And every time I see it on console, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot they doctored that up. Oh, it'd be really cool if they kept the original version. But then now my buddy is a Slayer, and I zoom in and I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
but
it is fun.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm sorry that you are thinking about Veronica while you're with Betty or Wilma.
Well, that's actually kind of fun. I actually don't mind it. It would probably be a bigger struggle if I was struggling. I would have a harder time or be more inclined to maybe do something about it if I wasn't still progressing. I'm not having any issues with progressing. I have to, at this point now, I need to stop and rechange some of my gear. I've got awful helmet and awful gloves. And none of my flasks are set up correctly. Like I need to actually get them. But man, freaking glassblower baubles are like, I'd take them over divines. Without being able to buy them now, they are so hard to get.
Yeah. You can still vendor recipe, can't you?
I don't even know what the vendor recipe is for a glassblower.
40%.
You have to pick up the flasks or whatever, right?
Sounds like you need my filter, bro.
I think I do have them on mine too, but it's not like a 20% drops that often. And I don't want to pick up a bunch of 4s.
You pick up all the 10s. No, you pick up the 10s. Mine's at 10% and above, so that 4 flasks equals 1 bobble.
Is it 40% total?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe I should.
It used to be, before they changed the quality of flasks a league or two ago, that 120% flask would trade in for a bobble, just because you were trading in something that was already at its peak, but that's not the case anymore.
No, it's double. Yeah, I need to get my flasks figured out because I have enough instilling orbs to do whatever I want. I just don't have the glass blowers, so I'm going to have to pick now what I want to prioritize. It's either going to be going with silver for onslaught, diamond for crit, or I might just go jade just for the extra evasion. Well, because I don't like dying. Dying bugs me.
Dying, not so good.
Not so good. Yeah.
My flask situation, I love my generic flask situation. If I can't think of anything specific, I require it's safe to require item level 80 for my flasks because that gets me all the mods that I want. I like the divine flask over the eternal flask.
I do too.
I like the more life, I like the greater life over the longer duration.
The reason I like it is because when you go for something that's like seething or panicked or something where you get it right away, the amount's higher.
Yes. Yep. That also works. Yeah, I don't like those mods. I just like the longer duration of healing, especially because I'm already doing petrified blood. But so on my left bumper, I have a divine life, and then it grants immunity to bleeding, right? Well, corrupted blood, but bleeding's included.
Yeah.
And then I have an amethyst flask. Every time I use my life flask, my amethyst flask, it provides 35% chaos. I'm always planning on being chaos capped, but either way, I like the combination of amethyst with poison. So the modifier that I roll is being immune to poison. Cool. And then I have on my right bumper a quicksilver flask and gain 3 charges when I'm hit, and that's just for moving. And then I have a quartz flask that whenever I use an adjacent flask, which is my quicksilver flask, I quartz, which is phase, and that's all it does. So basically, that's just my escape combo. I hit RB and it uses both, and then I'm moving fast and I'm phasing. That's also gain 3 when I get hit. And then I have a quicksilver right in the middle as well. And that's the exact same thing. It's just a quicksilver, gain 3 charges when I'm hit. And the reason how that works with the smart flask system is if my RB, which is my quicksilver, is empty, it uses the next quicksilver no matter where it is within the system. And so my quartz flask is always used when an adjacent flask is used, and that's surrounded by my
2
quicksilver flasks. So
the gain charges 3 charges when hit is the highest roll. So you're hoping that you're going to just roll lucky, I guess.
Well, that's what I save my alterations for. That's basically all I use them for, because everything else I deal with chaos and rare. So the only
Do
thing
you
that I'm
care
dealing
what the other roll is on it when you get those?
I care if it isn't something.
Okay.
I don't care what it is, as long as it's not
something you don't want.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love if it lasts longer. Increased duration is glorious, but or increased flask charges if it gets me, that third application. But there's just a few things that I don't want it to be. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head, but
cool.
Yeah, I'll re-roll. A 2 is not good enough. Gain 3 charges when you are hit by an. Oh yeah, no, I will not. I mean, if I have 20 alterations, I'm not even going to start rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So anyway, that's what I like. That's my generic thing. As long as I'm a life build, which I have been for the last billion years, that's what I do. Unless something needs help. So I'm glad you're enjoying your build, because you were playing based off of a recommendation that wasn't scratching your itch. So I'm glad you're still enjoying it, and you're in red maps, which is nice.
Almost got
you
the
enjoying checking on your town.
I love the town. I finished doing the first 2. What you got to fight the fat guy and the solar girl. Killed both of those ones, so I'm on my way to the last ones, and I love.
And they just visit you, right? You don't do anything.
What?
They just come to you, the bosses.
It's on your. You unlock the first one, like the first entrance into it, in your first yellow map, first tier 6 is when you first meet the where Maven drops the thing. Oh, no, or maybe it's, I don't remember. I can't remember. But yeah, just as you progress, you get those first 2. I don't remember when they happen.
I thought you were talking league bosses.
No. I'm talking about the normal ones.
Okay. I
haven't done anything with the league. I've never had anybody kidnapped in a shipment. I have had mappers die, which was funny. But I have not had, I haven't had any shipments taken away from me yet. So, or where you have to fight the boss. I'm not totally sure how I would do with those. Like, I feel like I'm really good clearing wise. And sometimes it feels like I've got really great boss killing, but sometimes it also feels a little bit hard to manage. I also am terrible at remembering to enduring cry, because when I'm going through just normal mapping, I don't need to. I've gained my endurance charges and my frenzy charges, no problem. But I do quite often forget to use enduring cry, which is a massive amount of damage reduction. So
sure. Well, as long as you're not getting one shot, it's that big hit. That's that savage hit that is that friendly reminder.
Yeah, but it's good. I love the town. I love this league. It's been very fun.
But none of the league bosses. Yeah, I was curious. I thought they just kind of like naturally showed up.
I think
once your town was certain levels. Oh, was it shipments?
I think it's based off shipments. I honestly don't know otherwise. I have my, I'm not super high. I just started. What you have to, it's kind of weird because like when you unlock the last ore and you're working your town up, the main town and the shipping both require the ore, like a large amount of the ore to upgrade. But if you unlock the smelter and start smelting that ore, which is very rare, you could end up with the bars, which means then you can't upgrade your city or your shipping. So I purposely did not upgrade my smelter, even though you could just not assign a person to it. I was too worried that one of my smelters would just get bored and start smelting those ores. So I'm just up to, I think, tier 7, maybe tier 6 or 7 on the city, but I don't know. It's fun. I'm having so much fun with it. I think that it's balanced really well. I think they've done a great job with it. So
I just visit the town just for fun. Like, I know my shipment's not in yet, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just go look.
Go check out the
Let's just go see. Let's just go. Yeah, I've got my farms. I got my like Dagudas or whatever they are now, the gourds. So I got 4, and then I'm just keeping everything. I'm not even doing things strategically. I'm pacing everything. Yeah. I could like I know my next farm upgrade. All it does is let me put more farmers onto the fields. Well, they're not. I just got one person because I'm not playing
or whatever. Sure.
No, all my money is getting spent when I'm offline, because I'm offline way more than I'm offline or online. So it's like I just have one person doing one of everything. One person working on each ore. One person doing this. Like just.
Well, the nice thing is the ore people don't cost you money once they've finished mining the ore. So if you're off like a lot. Yeah, if you're off for a long time, literally you're just paying for the farmers.
Yeah.
And maybe I guess
and the smelters.
But only if there's stuff is what I mean. Farmers will work all the time. Everybody else, once they're done their job, stops. So,
yeah. So depending on how you spawn bosses, I am curious on getting to the league content or the league bosses this time. This is the first league I've truly cared about and enjoyed and want to progress.
Yeah.
So I see myself playing the league all league.
That's fun.
I haven't even thought about my standard characters yet. So I am really excited to keep it going. So depending on how if those do spawn from shipment values, I'll of course change my apathetic balance strategy a little bit to putting a little bit more focus on easily sustaining that.
I like that the shipment stuff is that people are starting to figure it out. I know Ziggy's group has been like putting a lot of effort into figuring out what gets what from where. And that's fun. I think it's really cool. I've played with trying to learn it myself, and it's just been kind of cool. I haven't looked at this little sheet that I know has been running through our Discord as well, which I will start to actually like properly, because I got a shipment back today. I knew I had sent this big shipment out last night. I was like, oh, cool. I can't wait to check what it was. So I checked it this morning before I left to a meeting. I don't know what I did. I don't even remember. I just sent them what they wanted. I got like 12 ward pieces. I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. I'm sure that there's a way to determine, and maybe that's what these sheets are all about, to determine what it is that you get in return, whether it's currency or whatever.
He's got it like down to this type of ore to this type of place. You can expect it will be this type of item, which is cool. It's good stuff to know. For me, I've just been meeting whatever they want from it. But I guess you could pair it in with other things too and throw other stuff in there. And once you get the dust, it gets crazy, because if you throw 55 dust on, it doubles the value of everything else you've sent, and then makes it much harder to plan your shipments out. So it's fun. I think they've done a good job with it. Dust comes from Rog, and Rog just unlocks as you play through. As you upgrade the town, he eventually unlocks. I don't remember exactly where it's at, but I feel like it's a combination of smelter and mining. I honestly don't remember. He just
What about your maps? When did that unlock? Because I'm getting map drops in Acts 9 and 10, but
I think that unlocked once I got to mapping, or I think it actually just showed up. There was a one where all of a sudden I noticed there was a little hammer by what's her face, and but I didn't at that time have. Yeah, I think you need the really rare ore to start that first upgrade to get mapping started. So it just took me a little bit to work up that rare ore, because that rare ore is scary. It's the like charge it up style, like from whatever that league was, where you'd put your weapon in and see charge how much you want to charge. Yeah. Man,
I wish that went core, not the league. Who cares about
just
the league?
The skills. Skill trees. Yeah,
yes,
that was
passive
fun.
Trees on the weapons.
But that's the style for the really rare ore. FYI, if you fill it to full, it is a mother effing hard fight. So I've only done it once. Every other time I fill it to like half, 3/4, maybe. Because there are times where I've had to just walk away and be like, nope, I'm not getting that ore. Anyway,
interesting. And do you remember around when that started to show for you? Because I'm still at 3 ores for now. I don't think 4 have been showing for me yet. But I think there's 5.
No, you would definitely have 4. You would have there's the basic one where you just kill the pustules. The second one up is where you're fighting it's like Scourge or Beyond guys.
Yeah, that was the one that I was thinking about with the crappy visibility for you.
No, so the third one is the tree. Yeah, and then the fourth one is I think it's bismuth, but it's a big crystal looking tower that you click on, and it doesn't spawn enemies. It just makes all the rares have an additional modifier on the map, but also has the tornadoes.
Does it matter when you click the thing?
Well, that one only matters if you want to have rares with additional modifiers. Additional modifiers could mean better loot throughout the map, but it's going to make them harder. But no, it does not matter otherwise.
Upon discovering it, it's not better or worse to click it before,
it doesn't
after
make you
you've
get
cleared
more
the
or
enemies
less
around
it.
No.
There's been times where I've just clicked that one last because I don't want the difficulty.
I have, okay. So I do that reminder. Yeah, I've had the tornadoes for a while. So it's just the 5th one, probably maps only.
It might be just maps only. It's Verisium or something, and it's the Crucible style. You just charge it up, and
I'm always amazed with creativity. I praise GGG so much for their ability to come up with new and legit ideas. Coming up with like rock or material names for like a sci-fi or a space show. It's got to be the easiest thing in the world. Like,
aren't they all real things?
You're trying to come up with something that's better than what currently exists, and all you need to say is, "Oh yeah, no, did you get all that extra barubium over there? Oh man, no, that Maya's might. Oh, don't even worry about it. Oh man,
I thought they were all just based off like real things, but Verisium is not.
Look right here. Look what I'm sitting in. Oh man, the Tritium. Oh man, that stuff, it's too weak. You can't do it. You need the Descorium. That's what you need.
You're good at it, Ty.
The monitorious. That's the stuff. Anyway,
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm having a great time. I'm really enjoying it. I'm sorry I talked so much filter on a time when it was our first
Ty.
week.
We talk about whatever we want.
Like helicopters.
That's right. You never know what you're going to get here. Let's wrap this up. Yeah. I have to run. So Forever Exiled 252. I'm Justin AK Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Patrons, we'll see you in After Dark. Everybody else, we'll see you next week. Enjoy your league. Hopefully it's going well. If you're looking for more information, you'll find out below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. As mentioned previously, we have a very fun Discord. Pop in there and say hi. And Patreon, other ways to support the podcast. Find them down below and on previously mentioned website. Good luck.
Bye. Is it Betty and Wilma or Betty and Veronica?
Yes.
What is it?
It is.
Is it both?